welcome back to Quick and Healthy with Mr. G. On today's show, I'm going to show you how to make porridge. Yeah, it's that mythical breakfast cereal that you hear about in a lot of your childhood fairy tales and fables. What exactly is porridge? It's actually very easy to make, and you don't need all of these ingredients, but you can use these, but I'm just going to try to give you some ideas of things that you can put into porridge. Now, porridge usually starts out with oats, and that's what I'm starting out with here, followed by some other milled hot cereals. Right here I've got an organic high-fiber hot cereal and another multigrain pre-milled cereal. So I've got three different types of hot cereals here that are a cooked hot cereal. You need to cook on the stovetop. I've also got some Saigon cinnamon. I'm going to be putting in some pitted prunes, some dried cranberries, an apple, some vanilla extract, honey, and one of my old favorites here, some flaxseed. Now this is whole flaxseed, but I'll be grinding this in my grinder, and some walnut pieces. So, I'll tell you what, let me take you over to the stovetop and hope that we don't get a visit by the three bears, and let's make some porridge. Okay, I'm over here at my stovetop. I'm boiling some water. How much water? Oh, probably about 4 to 6 cups of water. I've got some extra water here in case we need it. Now, what I'm going to do is, to start with, I wanted to show you that I prepared my ingredients. I've got my apple all chunked up into just small, bite-sized little pieces. I've got a handful of the dried cranberries. I've got about 8 of the dried pitted prunes. Walnuts. I'm going to take and right in my oats, I like to take the walnut halves and just crush them by hand. I like them to be nice and meaty and large, so we just crush those in here by hand, like that. I'll finish doing that in a minute. And that's pretty much it. I've ground my flaxseed, and so it's ready to go. And pretty soon all we're going to do is we're going to start dumping ingredients into this pot, starting with the cereals first. How much cereal? Well, you'll see. You just start pouring a little bit in. We'll start with the oats. We add a little bit of cereal until I get to the proper thickness. And what's the proper thickness? Well, it should be sort of like lava, like bubbling lava. When you get to that thickness, then you've had enough cereal. Then you can start adding your fruits. You can add your roasted Saigon cinnamon, or any cinnamon will do. Some vanilla extract. How much of that? Just a few drops. You don't need much. Just maybe, I'd say maybe like a half a teaspoon of vanilla. And then I like to save the flax till towards the end, and I add that to continue to thicken it a little bit better. Now as that cooks, it will become thicker and thicker. So I'm going to finish crushing up my walnuts here. My water is just starting to boil. As you can see, we got some steam there. And then we're going to get cooking. So, okay, our water's come to a pretty good boil. It's not a hard, heavy, rolling boil, but it's pretty good. I'm on high heat at this point in time. I'm going to take my walnuts and my oats, and I'm just going to dump them right in the water. I'm going to start stirring. Now, this is something important. You need to stir this cereal almost continuously. Now, as the cereal gets added, it's going to want to froth up and boil over. So I'm going to reduce my heat to about half, to about 50% there. Now I'm just going to start adding some of these cereals. And how much am I adding? Well, you can see I'll just pour some in. This is a multi-grain cereal, high fiber. Another multi-grain cereal with flaxseed and soy. Now there is some flaxseed in here, but I'm going to add some additional flaxseed that I've milled myself. I'm going to pour some of this in until I get to a good thickness. Now, it's not going to get real thick right away, so you got to be careful, because as it cooks, it will thicken. So if we get too thick, I've brought over some additional water in case we need it. So now I just want to keep stirring. You can see that's steaming there. I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit more to keep it boiling a little bit better. This particular saucepan wants to spin on my stovetop. It doesn't have a completely flat bottom. I guess I picked kind of a bad one to do the video with, huh? So there we go. That's coming together real nice. Now, that's coming out real nice. Now what I'm going to do, this is about half full right now as well. I don't know, you probably can't see that, but it's about half full. Now as I stir that, got to keep stirring and stirring and stirring. Now the honey, I don't add. I add the honey when I eat the cereal, because if I add it now, it causes it to want to get sticky and then maybe stick to the pan. I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla extract, just like I told you, a few drops of vanilla. There we go. That's about 6-8 drops of vanilla. A lot of cinnamon. I like a lot of cinnamon in my cereal. So I just take the cap off, and what I'm putting in here is probably about, I'd say a good teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, maybe about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Now, continue to stir.
Get that cinnamon to blend down in there. Oh, that's coming together real nice. Now we cook this for about 10 minutes over a medium heat as it boils, and you're going to see this stuff just wants to froth right up. It's really becomes very much more thick, this porridge. I'm going to go ahead and add, I'm not going to do all these apples, so I'm going to add my 8 prunes. That's perfect. I'm going to add my handful of cranberries. And as far as apples go, well, a couple handfuls of these chunked apples, and then there'll be snacks for the dogs. The dogs love apples, at least one of them. Emma loves apples. Oh, that looks good. And I've left the peel on the apple too. I'm going to put a little more cranberries in mine. There we go. That looks good. Set that aside. Wipe my hand off. Oh, that's coming together well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you in closer so you can actually see it as it is cooking. Ah, flaxseed. Let's add some flaxseed while we're at it. Hope my spoon doesn't fall down in there and get lost in the porridge. How much flaxseed? Oh, I'm just putting in probably, I don't know if you can see that or not. I would say that's probably about a 1/4 cup of flax seed. And it's milled again. It's not whole. It was whole. It started out whole, but it's now milled. So there, our porridge is coming together. Okay, you can see that the porridge is starting to get nice and thick. You can see that. Oh, my pot wants to spin again, but you see how it's starting to become molten-like. Now, I'm going to have to reduce my heat. Now, I want to keep stirring. You don't want to stop stirring because it will stick to the saucepan. Now, the amazing thing is, this porridge, you think, well, that's going to just make that saucepan a wreck when it's done. That's not the case. After it cools, it will fall right out of the saucepan because there's natural oils in these grains and in your flaxseed. I'm going to reduce my heat down to much lower now because it's really starting to bubble quickly. Now you can see that that's starting to get thicker. It's starting to thicken up real nice. Okay, our porridge has been cooking now for about 8 to 10 minutes and it's becoming rather thick. As you can see, it looks like molten lava cooking there, bubbling away. Now, what's so great about porridge? Well, it's got whole grain, it's extremely high in fiber, naturally low in sodium, naturally low in fat. It's got a lot of great health benefits. The porridge that I made here is full of omega-3s and omega-6s for your heart health. If you eat this several times a week, I'm sure your cholesterol level will plummet, and I'm sure you'll start to lose weight and you'll feel healthier all around. Plus, this sticks with you all day long. You're going to go out chop firewood this winter. Start your morning off with some nice porridge. Now, we can see how that's starting to be real bubbly. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove this from the heat after it's cooked for about 10 minutes. That's how long we've got here. And we're going to cover it with our lid and just set it aside and let it sit for about another 5 minutes. What does that do? Well, that allows time for it to all kind of gel together and to thicken. And once it's completely thickened, I'll serve some up and you can have a look for yourself and see exactly what the end product looks like. And I'll know what it tastes like. And if you make your own, you'll know what it tastes like too. Now, what if it's too thin? What if you say, well, Mr. GR, my porridge isn't that thick. See the thickness level of that when it's boiling there? Or it's too thick. It's just almost like it's like super thick, starting to get like dried mud. Well, if it's too thick, add more water. If it's too thin, add more cereal. And just keep adding water and cereal till you get to the right thickness. Okay, here we have our porridge. I'm going to put some in my bowl here. Look at that. Isn't that delicious looking? Oh, a nice big bowl of porridge before I go out and start chopping firewood today. There it is. Delicious. Now, what I like to do is I like to put some honey on top of mine. So we're just going to swirl some honey. And there you have it. Amazing. Doesn't that look delicious? Let's see how it tastes. Now I gotta be careful. My porridge might be too hot instead of just right. Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, the apples, the cranberries, everything just blends together beautifully. Love the walnuts in it as well. Now, remember to store your whole grain cereals in the refrigerator or freezer. And enjoy your porridge. I'll see you next time right here on Quick and Healthy with Mr. G.